What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast and I've finally got my hands on a Great League Rayquaza, and my god was it worth the wait. On my first day of testing it out, I managed to gain over 350 elo, making it one of my best climbing days ever. Now just a quick disclaimer, this intro is going to be pretty lengthy as I discuss my long journey to obtain this Pokemon, so feel free to skip ahead if you don't care about that. Those of you that have been following me for a while will know that I've literally been trading for this Pokemon since it gained access to Breaking Swipe nearly 6 months ago. This is certainly one of the hardest Pokemon to obtain for the Great League, as it was only available from research once several years ago, and you have to trade for its IVs to go down, but it won't work with best friend trades because the IV floor is too high. This means for the best chance of getting one at 1500 CP or below, you have to trade with a completely new friend. I'm pretty much best friends with all of my local community, so it's been really hard finding people to trade with. It took a total of 20 trades to finally get one, and it was just my luck that literally the following day, Homesize Henry uploaded a video shoutcasting some Great League Rayquaza battles. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty devastated. I spent literally half a year trying to obtain this Pokemon to feature in a video because it would be something that most people will have never seen or even thought about using, but now it's no longer unique. The team I used is also very similar, so I decided to hold off on making this video for a few days. Now as for the team, it's an ABB style team with Rayquaza and Haxorus in the back and Shadow Alolan Sandslash in the lead. Breaking Swipe is quite literally the most broken charge move in the game right now, but the trade-off is that both Haxorus and Rayquaza are very glassy Pokemon. Rayquaza struggles mostly against fairies, steels and ice types, which Alolan Sandslash covers very well, and Haxorus there as the safe swap since it doesn't get easily hard-walled by Pokemon like Rayquaza does. With that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What's the most desirable raid, egg or research locked Pokemon that requires trading for its IVs to fit in either the Great or Ultra League? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, we lead Shadow Alolan Sandslash into Medicham. Awful lead, core breaks both my lead and my safe swap, but the opponent does respond with a Noctowl, so we can go for the Breaking Swipe straight away. Breaking Swipe is going to land, it does some nice damage, we get them into the yellow health, but the opponent does throw just before I make it to Breaking Swipe number 2. I'm going to shield up the Sky Attack here, over farm in this matchup and go for another Breaking Swipe just before they make it to the second Sky Attack. The opponent does shield it up and we've got them so low already. I'm not going to double shield just because Rayquaza is not going to be able to take an Ice Punch, so having all shields down, even if I flip switch, is not going to be advantageous for me. So now I'm going to come in with the Sandslash. They are very low, but I won't be able to fully Shadow Claw, farm them down, so I tank a Shadow Ball, farm up a ton of energy, and then swap into Rayquaza, sniping them with the Dragon Tail, and they've got a Pelipper in the back, so I can go for the Breaking Swipe just before they make it to a Weather Ball, and Weather Ball is going to be resisted. They can go for Hurricane, but I'm going to shield anyway, so it's very likely that they do bait with the Weather Ball, which they do, and they're going to send the second Weather Ball straight away, making sure they get it off before I get to a charge move. But that's fine with me. This actually allows me to fully Dragon Tail, farm them down. We don't quite have the Hurricane loaded, which is unfortunate, but we go for Breaking Swipe, lowering their attack, and we can come in with the Sandslash, make it to a Drill Run and an Ice Punch. I wasn't sure how much damage this would do, but that does so much damage, so 2 Ice Punches would have easily been enough, but we played it safe anyways. We take out the Medicham, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there, and if you're wondering why I've got Hurricane instead of Dragon Ascent, well, you had to take part in the London Go Fest for a Meteorite to evolve it or Mega Evolve it and learn Dragon Ascent, but I didn't actually buy a ticket. I did go there for a few trades, but I didn't buy the ticket. But here we are getting completely hard countered once again, which is really unfortunate. Gonna go for a second Breaking Swipe. We did grab a shield, we lower their attack, but we can't quite counter farm them down. That's really unfortunate. Pretty much the ideal situation for the Dugong because they have very little health here. They're going to go for a charge move. I'm going to let it go through. It's actually the Icy Wind, and that's amazing for me. I can swap out straight away. They come back in with the Deoxys. They're going to go for a charge move. I'm going to use a shield here. The opponent goes for Thunderbolt, but they're going to swap now into Umbreon, and Umbreon, incredibly bulky Pokemon here. What I can do is go for the Breaking Swipe straight away, lowering their attack. I'm actually going to use a shield straight away here because I can get off a second Breaking Swipe before they make it to the next foul play, and this should lower their attack once again, meaning I will very comfortably live the foul play here. And actually, I think they're in range where I can fully Dragon Tail, farm them all the way down. It's going to be close, but but we get the farm down and we make it out. We come with back-to-back breaking swipes here. This first one will lower their attack. We grab the shield, we then swap into Sandslash. We have a second breaking swipe loaded anyways, but I make it to the Ice Punch. Ice Punch gonna put them into range where even if they go for a Thunderbolt, they are debuffed. It should not be enough damage to take us out, and we actually simultaneously KO there. But even if they did get the farm down, we had the breaking swipe anyways, so I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent. Into the next game, we see Mantine in the lead. So pretty decent lead. The opponent safe swaps into Escavalier, not a Pokemon you typically see in the Great League, but then we can say that about Haxorus and Rayquaza as well. But here we go for breaking swipe, lowering their attack, and now I will be able to shield once, fully counter, farm them all the way down in this matchup before they get to the next charge move. And the opponent's going to wait out the switch clock here before coming in with a Registeel. Now, you don't typically see Earthquake on Haxorus, so I'm going to overfarm massively and full send the Earthquake here. Earthquake one-shots the Registeel. They come back in with the Mantine, and this is going to be game over. We go for the breaking swipe, lowering their attack permanently because they have no Pokemon left. They can't swap out and clear the debuff. We come in with the Sandslash, and they go for Bubble Beam, which is just not going to do much damage. We actually swap here, trying to catch the next Bubble Beam. Also just going to flex that we do have the Rayquaza, because otherwise I think Sandslash would have been able to take out the Mantine anyways. But here we go for breaking swipe. Breaking swipe will be no shielded by the opponent as they knew it was game over, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Shadow Poliwrath in the lead. Not a great lead once again. Gonna safe swap into Haxorus, and they do respond with an Altaria. I'm actually gonna overfarm here, throwing right at the last second, meaning they don't get much extra farm. And we do land the breaking swipe, lowering their attack, and we should put them into range where we can fully Shadow Claw, farm them down, because unlike Noctowl, they are not part normal. So these Shadow Claws are gonna be neutral damage. They are debuffed. They can only throw resisted damage, unlike Noctowl here. So I will be able to tank both charge moves here, fully farm them down, and I should have just about enough health here where I can go for a drill run and I won't be KO'd by this one counter. So I will instantly swap after landing the drill run into the Rayquaza, and they've got a Mew in the back. Now if they're running Dragon Claw, then this might be a little bit tricky, but any other charge move should be perfectly fine for me. We go for the breaking swipe, lowering their attack, and they do make it to a charge move here. You can see the Shadow Claws are really chunking. We're already at half health. They go for a flame charge there, boosting their attack once again, but we can just lower it once again with the breaking swipe. I will be able to fully farm them down here. They make it to a last second charge move, doesn't matter. Wild Charge does get shielded. We make it to the breaking swipe, and this will easily be enough damage to take out the Poliwrath, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent. Into the next game, we see a Dugong in the lead. Now this is a little bit tricky because typically with a Dugong in the lead, you're going to see Medicham and Bastiodon in the back, an ABA style team. But if they really want to, they can fight for switch advantage here. I'm pretty confident I know what the team is, so I'm going to use a shield here. They did shield up the first charge move, which pretty much means they have intentions of maintaining alignment, and they're going to double shield. I'm now really forced to shield this up, and the opponent is going to bait with an Icy Wind, which means that Drill Run will not be enough damage to take them out here, whereas a Drill Run from the opponent will easily KO from this range. So unfortunately, we will not have the alignment we want. And now we can, of course, come in with the Haxorus. Actually, that didn't quite take us out there, but I didn't think I was making it to the Drill Run, and now yeah, it's just not good. They come in with the Medicham. This means that they will have the Bastiodon aligned to my Rayquaza, and there's nothing I can do. I'm going to play this out anyways, go for the Earthquake. It does big damage. We're going to come in with the Rayquaza here, hoping they are in range where I can farm them down before they make an Ice Punch. But the opponent does have the Bastiodon, so we're just going to concede the match there. So really unfortunate there. Not a lot I could do in that situation, I don't believe. Maybe I should have stayed in with the Sandslash and just see if I could make it to the Drill Run. It would have been close, but I didn't think I was getting there. But I guess that was my only win condition. So here we're now going to go for a Drill Run into Azumarill, and the opponent swaps into Walrein. And this is actually really good for me because Walrein is going to be able to very easily beat my two back Pokemon, certainly when shields are down. But here we can go for the second Drill Run before they make it to the Earthquake, winning the CMP tie, and Drill Run does get them very low. I'm now going to respect the damage from the Earthquake. It is the Earthquake, and now I should be able to fully Shadow Claw, farm them down. This is just going to be an Icicle Spear, which we easily tank, so I will let the move go through, go for the full farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. they're going to come back in with a Azumarill. This is only going to be enough for an Ice Beam. So Ice Beam, double resisted. We easily tanked that. And now I can make it to another drill run. I've already got a third drill run ready, loaded. Well, actually, not quite, but I swap into my Haxorus here, knowing that I can shield once and fully counter farm them down. They've already had two very hard answers, two Dragon-type Pokemon in the bag. They come in with Galarian Stunfisk, a third hard answer typically, but Earthquake one-shots the Stunfisk. I will be able to fully counter farm down a Azumarill, and we take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Alolan Sandslash into Venusaur, and I really love to see Venusaur in the lead because my whole team does very well against it. Here, I'm going to go for the Ice Punch, throwing after one turn after I make it to the Ice Punch, making sure they don't make a catch here. Now, the opponent's going to throw just before I make it to Ice Punch number 2. I'm going to shield up the Frenzy Plant here, and they swap. They try to catch the Ice Punch, but because I wait that one turn, I can see it's a Wall Rain coming in, and then I correctly go for the Drill Run. Now I can make it to another Drill Run before they make it to the Earthquake, and Drill Run is actually going to be no shielded. They fully sacrifice the Wall Rain there, and let's see what the opponent has in the back. They come in with the Venusaur once again, so I swap into my Rayquaza here, preserving my Sandslash, because if they're coming back in with the Venusaur, I'm expecting it to be very weak to the Sandslash in the back, but we go for the Breaking Swipe here. Could have just farmed them down actually, but maybe that's a mistake, and they actually come in with a Shadow Swampert. They do get the full farm down, which is actually not ideal for me, because even though Haxorus is a Dragon type, a Shadow Hydro Cannon is going to do so much damage, but the opponent overfarms it, allowing me to make it to the Breaking Swipe before they get off the Earthquake or the Hydro Cannon. They have to full send the Earthquake here to take me out, which they do, but now I will be able to make it to the Ice Punch before they make it to back-to-back charge moves, and Ice Punch from this range will easily take out the Shadow Swampert, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Sandslash into another Medicham. Gonna say swap into Haxorus, and unfortunately they've got a Charm Alolan Ninetales. And I'm already thinking it's pretty much gonna be a double charm team, so there's not a lot I'm thinking that I can do, but I'm gonna play this out anyways. It might not be a double charm team, let's find out. We're gonna come back in with the Alolan Sandslash. We did debuff them, so this Side Shock isn't gonna do too much damage, and I should be able to overfarm quite significantly in this matchup. Honestly, maybe I could have gone for the full farm down there, expecting the opponent to go for a Weather Ball straight away, but they come back in with the Medicham, so I'm gonna go for the Drill Run and then swap into my Rayquaza as my switch clock is up, but the opponent has a Shadow Gramble, and yep, it's going to be game over, unfortunately. Not a lot I could do against that team. Actually, I think it was pretty much impossible to win against that team, so GG's to that opponent. But yeah, into the next game, we see a Shadow Swampert in the lead, so going to say swap into my Haxorus, and unfortunately we met with one of the only Ice types where Haxorus can't really flip this matchup. We go for the Breaking Swipe, and it's actually a CMP tie, so that's perfect for me. Gonna let this move go through. I did debuff their attack. I'm hoping that I will be able to Shadow Claw farm them down before they make it to a Shadow Ball here. So let's see. We go for the Shadow Claw farm down, and we do get the full farm down, which is massive. They come in with the Shadow Swampert. I'm going to go for Drill Run because I learned this from watching Homesize Henry's videos. Drill Run is more energy efficient, even though Ice Punch is stab. We now swap into Rayquaza, and even though we resist every typical move, we're actually going to shield this up anyways because Hydro Cannon really chunks up against Rayquaza. It's kind of ridiculous. We go for Breaking Swipe, lowering the attack from this Mocktail, and they will make it to a charge move just before I make it to the next Breaking Swipe. So I'm going to shield up the Shadow Ball, and that's actually really nice for me. It means I can overfarm significantly here and go for the Breaking Swipe just before they make it to the next charge move. They actually use a shield, and now I did gain the energy for a Breaking Swipe. So if I live this, which I do, I'm going to swap into my Sandslash, get the farm down. We lose the CMP tie, but even if we don't live this, I've got the Breaking Swipe loaded. But Sandslash holds on with about 2 HP remaining. We go for the Ice Punch, taking out the Shadow Swampert, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Sandslash into Galarian Stunfisk. So a pretty neutral matchup here, especially since we do now have Drill Run. We're going to go for it straight away, and once again, I always like to throw after one turn here, after I throw my fast move, meaning they can't make a catch. Now I'm going to shield this up, and I should be able to outpace them to the next charge move here. I'm going to overfarm. I tried to get the farm down, unfortunately not able to. I have to throw here, as they do now have the energy for the Earthquake. They're going to shield, and I actually let this go through. I can't really afford to go down shields with my Pokemon in the back, but if they've got something like a Fairy type or an Ice type, it's going to be game over, but they don't. It's a Sableye, and this is going to be a very nice matchup. We go for the Breaking Swipe, lowering their attack. They will make it to a Foul Play just before I make it to the next charge move. Well, I mean, they made it quite a while ago, but they throw just before I get there. I'm now going to go for the Breaking Swipe straight away. This will be enough damage to take out the Sableye, and it's a Shadow Venusaur in the back, so I will be able to make it to the Breaking Swipe. This won't quite be enough damage to take them out, but it very nearly does. They make it to the Frenzy Plant. This will be enough damage, even though it is debuffed and double resisted, but it doesn't matter. One counter takes out the Venusaur, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, another Medicham in the lead. So going to say swap into Haxorus, and unfortunately we're met with another Frostlass. So not looking very good so far. Not a lot we can do in this matchup. We go for Breaking Swipe, and the opponent, if they go for a full farm down, then we would make it to another charge move. So the opponent does rightfully go for the Avalanche there just before I make it to Breaking Swipe number 2. But I'm hoping that I can come in with my Sandslash and go for the full Shadow Claw farm down. They make it to a charge move, but I think this is just an Avalanche. It is. It's double resisted and debuffed. We're going to go for the Ice Punch straight away, just making sure we can get off a charge move and then swap instantly into the Rayquaza. But they've got a Shadow Charizard in the back. Now we go for a Breaking Swipe before they make it to the Dragon Claw, and this is going to be massive. It debuffs their attack, but unfortunately they will make it to the back-to-back Dragon Claws here. So I'm actually going to double shield in this matchup. I know, of course, Medicham can easily one-shot us with an Ice Punch, but I need to get off a Breaking Swipe against this Medicham. So they come back in, we go for Breaking Swipe. I'm hoping this will be able to grab the final shield and put them into range where I can take them out with my Sandslash, but they do rightfully overfarm in this matchup, going for the Ice Punch. And can we make it to the Ice Punch? Oh, we can't. They make it to a last second charge move, and Ice Punch will be taking out the Sandslash, and we do unfortunately lose that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Trevenant in the lead, so a pretty good lead. They swap into Noctowl, which is also absolutely fine for me. I'm not going to swap out of this matchup. There's no reason to. Ice Punch will grab a shield from the opponent. I'm even going to tank a charge move from the Noctowl here, as Shadow Ball will not be enough damage to take us out, and Shadow Ball will hurt a lot more from the Trevenant as it is stab and is a more attack-weighted Pokemon. So we go for the Ice Punch, we land it there, we then swap into Rayquaza. We can now shield once, fully farm them down, and if they come back in with the Trevenant, then I will be able to easily take them out as well. So here we're going to see the opponent come back in with the Trevenant straight away. We go for 3 Dragon Tails there before going for a Breaking Swipe, and this does go unshielded, but they've only got enough energy for a Seed Bomb, so I can easily let this go through. It is debuffed and double resisted damage. They come in with a Lantern, and this is going to be game over for the opponent. We go for Breaking Swipe. We can now swap into Haxorus. We completely wall Lantern with the Haxorus, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, another awful lead into defense from the Deoxys. We swap into our Haxorus, and the opponent is choosing to stay in this matchup. So I'm going to shield this up. This will be a Psycho Boost. They are very clearly going to swap out now, and they swap into a Noctowl. So going to go for the Breaking Swipe straight away, and this will lower their attack, and I will be able to make it to a second Breaking Swipe on the CMP tie with the Sky Attack, which is perfect for me. And Breaking Swipe will grab a shield back from the opponent, so I'm happy to let the Haxorus go down. Sky Attack actually doesn't quite take us out after the double debuff, but that's fine. They only get 1 extra wing attack through. We're now going to come in with the Sandslash and overfarm massively in this matchup. Gonna let this move go through. It is a Shadow Ball, but it is double debuffed, so we do tank that very nicely. We're now going to farm to nearly 100 energy, go for the Ice Punch, and this will be taking out the Noctowl. We're then going to swap instantly into Rayquaza. They've got a Lantern in the back. This is absolutely fine with us. We can go for the Breaking Swipe straight away, lowering their attack, and this should put them into range where I can fully farm them down. And we are going to shield it up. It's a Surf Bait, which is unfortunate. They will be able to make it to a Thunderbolt, but I'm going to go for the Breaking Swipe just before they get there anyways. Breaking Swipe takes out the Lantern, and the opponent is going to overfarm, allowing me to make it to another Breaking Swipe in this matchup. And this will grab the final shield from the opponent. We should be able to live this move now because of the attack debuff. They go for Thunderbolt. Actually, no, that does take us out there. I think we might have lived the Psycho Boost, not 100% sure, but it doesn't matter. Drew a Run nearly takes them out. One more Shadow Claw does the job, and we're able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Sandslash into another defense from Deoxys. So once again, going to play this out the same. They're probably going to Psycho Boost and dip once again, but no, they actually don't. They swap into Carbink, and now I'm going to go for a Breaking Swipe here because I don't think an Earthquake quite takes them out here, but because I go for the Breaking Swipe, this pretty much makes them sure that I'm not running Earthquake. So I full send the Earthquake, and we take out the Carbink there. They try to go for the farm down, and that's a massive mistake because now I've got the alignment I want, and yeah, it's looking pretty good for us, although this Deoxys is incredibly loaded on energy. So they go for a Psycho Boost, and now we're going to go for the Breaking Swipe straight away here. Breaking Swipe will lower their attack by one more stage, and they swap into a Jellicent. So now I'm going to bank a Breaking Swipe and then swap into my Sandslash. Unfortunately, we lagged there. I don't know if they got an extra fast move in there. I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't really matter. We can make it to the drill run, and I will actually undercharge this just a little bit to put them into range where I can fully Dragon Tail farm them down. If they go for another Surf, which they do, Surf takes me out. We get the Dragon Tail farm down, and we come out with nearly 2 Breaking Swipes loaded. We are going to go for the Breaking Swipe here. Bit of a lag once again. Not really sure what's going on, but as long as they're not at the back-to-back, actually it doesn't even matter. We get the Dragon Tail through, and now I will be able to go for the Breaking Swipe. I think that's a CMP tie, but it doesn't matter. Breaking Swipe will be taking out Deoxys, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Sandslash into Galarian Stunfisk. So once again, pretty neutral lead matchup here. Gonna go straight for the drill run, but once again, I will wait one turn there before going for the drill run. But actually, I think I waited 2 turns by accident, and it ends up being a CMP tie. So I've basically just given them a full fast move in for free, which is not ideal for me. The opponent then swaps into Deoxys, so we're gonna respond with our Rayquaza. We got for Breaking Swipe before they make it to the Thunderbolt or potential Rock Slide. If they are running Rock Slide, then there's not a lot we can do in this matchup, but if it is a Thunderbolt, then I should be able to live that. But unfortunately, they do outpace me to the next charge move, so I'm going to let this go through. I will now be able to counter farm them down with my Haxorus, and I know that I can beat the Galarian Stunfisk as well with the counter damage here, so I'm not too fussed about switch advantage. We're now going to see the opponent is going to come in with a Noctowl, so I'm going to overfarm in this matchup, go for the Breaking Swipe, and this will lower the attack from the opponent. And they're now going to swap back into Galarian Stunfisk. I'm going to swap and catch the charge move onto my Alolan Sandslash here, but Rock Slide is going to put me into Mud Shot farm down range, which is actually worst case scenario for me. Honestly, I'd prefer if they just fully took me out there, but now they get a massive Mud Shot farm down, and I won't be able to counter farm them down before they make it to back-to-back charge moves. I could go for a Breaking Swipe, but it's not going to help me here. Rock Slide would still be enough damage to basically take me out, but here Rock Slide takes me out there, and I do unfortunately lose that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, a great lead into Altaria. The opponent stays in initially, they swap into Swampert, and because I'm a little bit slow here, I thought I might as well just go for the Ice Punch straight away. We grab a shield from the opponent, and now we come in with Rayquaza, and you're going to see that Hydro Cannon from not even a Shadow Swampert is going to do over half of our health, which is not ideal whatsoever. I'm now going to have to use a shield in this matchup. They go for the Hydro Cannon number 2. We're going to overfarm here, throwing as many Dragon Tails as we can before they get to the next charge move, and the opponent will let the Breaking Swipe go through, and that will allow me to make it to a Breaking Swipe into what I thought would be Altaria, but no, it's actually Galarian Stunfisk, but this does not matter. We can double debuff them if the opponent wants to overfarm in this matchup. Absolutely fine with me. We go for the second Breaking Swipe. They now come in with Altaria. I'm just going to let Rayquaza go down. We do completely wall it with the Alolan Sandslash, so all I have to do here is build up to the back-to-back Ice Punches before I throw the first one. So here we have the back-to-back moves loaded. This will easily one-shot the Altaria, and we have a second Ice Punch to throw on the CMP tie with Galarian Stunfisk. That does come back in. Ice Punch grabs the final shield, so I can now let the Alolan Sandslash go down. They go for Rock Slide, it takes me out. We come in with the Haxorus here, and the only win con for the opponent is full sending the Earthquake, so I will definitely use a shield. It is the Earthquake, and now I can counter farming down, so the opponent concedes the match. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Sandslash into Medicham. So once again, gonna say swap into my Haxorus, and we're met with another Noctowl. So gonna go for that Breaking Swipe straight away, debuffing their attack as soon as I can. and they will be able to go for a Sky Attack straight away. I'm actually going to use a shield here, and once again play out the one shield scenario, because I will be able to double debuff them and get them incredibly low before they do eventually take me out with a Sky Attack. So we grab the shield from the opponent. We can't afford to go down both shields here and flip switch advantage, so I'm going to let Haxorus go down. We come in with the Alolan Sandslash, and once again I'm going to farm up a ton of energy before sniping with my Rayquaza here. So they go for the Shadow Ball. We now swap into Rayquaza, but the opponent responds with a Shadow Charizard, and they do throw at pretty good timing here. So they go for the Dragon Claw. We can go for one Dragon Tail, go for the Breaking Swipe, and this will be taking them out here if they let it go through, which they do, and I think that's a massive mistake by the opponent. They now come back in with Medicham. We go for 3 Dragon Tails before going for the Breaking Swipe, lowering their attack, and the opponent is trying to farm me down. Massive mistake as we make it to Breaking Swipe number 2, getting them incredibly low. Now we can just come in. The opponent tries to make their catch. I was expecting that, so I don't throw straight away. We build to the back-to-back Ice Punches, throw the first one, take out the Noctowl, and this Ice Punch will now be enough damage to take out the Medicham, and we take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Toxicroak in the lead, so the bad leads just continue here. We swap into Haxorus, and they've got a Frostlass, so it is not looking too good for us. We go for the Breaking Swipe, and this will be grabbing a shield from the opponent, and it does allow us to barely make it to the next Breaking Swipe, and this will get the Frostlass incredibly low already, so that's pretty good for us. I'm going to come back in with my Sandslash, and I know that even though they're double debuffed, a Shadow Ball is actually going to do quite a lot of damage, and I don't know what their third Pokemon is, so I'm going to shield up the Shadow Ball here, go for the Shadow Claw, farm down. My Switch Hop isn't quite up yet, so I do end up throwing the Ice Punch. This should grab a shield anyways from Toxicroak, which it does. All shields are now down. The opponent does make it to a potential Sludge Bomb. I'm going to shield this up, but it is a Mud Bomb bait, which is unfortunate. I'm going to overfarm. The opponent makes a catch, but it's onto a Sableye, so that's absolutely perfect with me. We're now going to go and farm up here, throwing on the CMP type with the Foul Play, and this will be enough damage to easily take out the Sableye. The opponent can't farm me down here. They don't have enough energy to throw a charge move, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Swampert in the lead, so going to say swap into my Haxorus straight away, and the opponent is going to stay in initially, go for a Hydro Cannon. I don't really care, going to let this move go through. Hydro Cannon does do quite a lot of damage to Haxorus, and they come in with a Skarmory. Now I'm actually going to go for an Earthquake here. I don't really know why I did this, probably should have just gone for 2 Breaking Swipes, but it doesn't really matter. And we are going to wait out the Switch Clock here, then come in with the Sandslash, and unless they're running Flash Cannon, I can easily tank whatever they throw, so I'm going to let this move go through, and it actually was the Flash Cannon that does so much damage. So now I'm going to farm 2 back-to-back Ice Punches. I've actually got Ice Punch and a Drill Run loaded, so we go for the Ice Punch, we do connect, we take out the Skarmory, and if it is the Swampert coming back in, we're going to go for the Drill Run straight away. This will do some very nice damage, and it does get them incredibly low. They now come in with Noctowl, but we've got an energy advantage, so we should be able to take this game with the Rayquaza here. We go for the Breaking Swipe, grabbing the first shield from the opponent. We're now going to shield up in this matchup here as they go for the Sky Attack. I can now go for 3 Dragon Tails before going for the Breaking Swipe, but they do make it to the next charge move. I want to throw at good timing there, so I didn't throw before they made it to the charge move. We can now go for another Breaking Swipe. I'm actually going to undercharge this in case they let it go through, which they did, and now I'm able to swap, catch the charge move onto my Sandslash, and now I should be able to easily Dragon Tail, farm down the Swampert, and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Sandslash into a Shadow Charizard. Now, Shadow Charizard, I had a lot of issues with in the lead because it just hits so hard, and it does have the ability to one-shot my entire team because the Dragon Claw actually basically one-shots Haxorus and Rayquaza. So, yeah, it's not great. They do bait with their Dragon Claw. Unfortunately, I'm going to go for the Ice Punch once again, waiting 1 turn before throwing, and we do grab the final shield from the opponent. So at this point, I'm just going to let the Sandslash go through, or go down, sorry. Blast Burn takes me out. We come in with the Rayquaza, and I'm hoping I live a Dragon Claw from this range, but we're going to find out that no, we don't. That actually one-shots us, and that is really bad because now we've only got a Haxorus left. They come in with a Chestnut, and here I'm going to overfarm in this matchup because I don't know what they've got in the back. They might wait for me to throw and then swap out. So what I'm going to do here is go for the Breaking Swipe before they get to the next charge move, and Breaking Swipe does a lot of damage. They then swap into Lantern, and this is the exact reason I held on to the energy as we now make it to the Earthquake, and Earthquake one-shots the Lantern. but they just barely make it to a charge move with 1 HP remaining. Superpower takes out my Haxorus, and even though that Charizard completely deleted my team, Haxorus nearly swept, but unfortunately we do lose that game. So GG's to that opponent, and into the next battle we see another Dugong in the lead, so I'm expecting this to be the same team that we already saw and lost against earlier with Medicham and Bastiodon in the back, but this time they let the first move go through. So now they go for a draw run, and here I'm going to overfarm in this matchup, go for another draw run, and this should be taking them out. They do just let it go through. They come in with Medicham, so I swap into my Haxorus, and we bait out the Bastiodon, which is amazing for us. I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake here, as Earthquake will be enough damage to easily one-shot the Bastiodon there. And now they come back in with Medicham. We can go for a Breaking Swipe. This will debuff their attack, and unfortunately, it's not the best situation here, but I think with this Medicham team here, they actually don't run Ice Punch, so I'm going to come in with my Sandslash just to force them to throw their energy, and the opponent is going to go for a power-up punch here, so that's fine with me. I'm going to bank that energy, come in with the Rayquaza. My only lose con is if they go for the Psychic, they bait with a power-up punch, but they won't be able to make it to the Psychic, so I'm able to Dragon Tail, farm them down, and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Alolan Sandslash into another Medicham. So once again, gonna say swap, and they respond with a Shadow Charizard. So I'm gonna go for a Breaking Swipe here just before they make it to the Dragon Claw. And Breaking Swipe does grab a shield from the opponent. They throw after only 1 extra wing attack, so that's fine with me. Dragon Claw takes me out. Now I'm going to come in with my Sandslash here, and I will be able to go for an Ice Punch, but I knew it was going to be CMP tight, so I do actually shield up, and I don't go for the charge move. Instead, I go for a full Shadow Claw farm down, and we get the farm down. Absolutely massive. And now I can go for a Drill Run, and Drill Run will be doing big damage to the Medicham. We swap into Rayquaza, and once again, they've got an Umbreon in the back, but we've seen already that Rayquaza can shield once, and then if we land just 1 Breaking Swipe, then I will be able to fully Dragon Tail, farm them all the way down here. So we're going to shield up the Foul Play, go for the second Breaking Swipe on the CMP tie, it looks like, and this Breaking Swipe will actually go unshielded once again. Absolutely perfect for me. And now I'm going to let this move go through. Of course, I have no shields remaining. I will now be able to fully Dragon Tail, farm them all the way down. They come back in with Medicham. We go for the Breaking Swipe straight away. I don't know how much energy they've got exactly, but I will be able to debuff their attack. We swap into Sandslash, go for the Ice Punch here. Ice Punch grabs the final shield from the opponent. They make it to a charge move, but even if they're running Dynamic Punch, it doesn't matter. Power Punch, not enough damage to take us out, and we get the Shadow Claw farm down, simultaneous KO, but I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there, into another Medicham in the lead. Unfortunately, a lot of Medicham leads, but it just is what it is. We're now going to swap into Haxorus, and we are going to shield this up. The opponent goes for an Ice Punch. I don't throw straight away because I'm expecting the opponent to swap out eventually, and they swap into a Shadow Drapion. I'm expecting a shield, so I don't full send the Earthquake, and they do shield, so it's a good thing I didn't go for it there, as it now allows me to make it to a Breaking Swipe. But once again, I can't afford to go down both shields in this matchup because Rayquaza does get completely one-shot by an Ice Punch. So now I'm going to come in with my Sandslash. I'm hoping they're in range for me to resist it, Shadow Claw farm them all the way down, and tank just 1 charge move from the Drapion. So here, they go for the Crunch. That doesn't do much damage. Can we get the farm down? It doesn't look like it. So we swap into the Rayquaza once again, getting the snipe, and the opponent comes in with a Lantern. So I'm going to go for the Breaking Swipe straight away. Breaking Swipe lowers their attack. It does big damage to the Lantern. And here I'm going to use a shield. The opponent is going to go for a Surf Bait. Really unfortunate, but I will be able to make it to a Breaking Swipe on the CMP tie with the Thunderbolt from the opponent. And Breaking Swipe grabs the final shield from the opponent. And remember, Sandslash is absolutely loaded on energy. The Thunderbolt nearly takes us out. They snipe with the Medicham, but it doesn't matter. And once again, we farm to the Drill Run and the Ice Punch. Drill Run going to do big damage, and Ice Punch should barely be enough damage from this range to take out the Medicham. And we take that game. Actually, no, they've still got a Lantern. What am I talking about? But I'm able to Shadow Claw, farm down the Lantern, and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Buzzwole in the lead, so a lot of counter leads, but we're still able to come back from a lot of them here, so this team is actually pretty decent. We're now going to go for a Breaking Swipe, lowering their attack, and they are actually running Bubble, which means we do resist the fast move, and they are slightly slower to the charge moves as well. They go for a Shadow Ball, we do correctly shield it up. Going to go for a Breaking Swipe here, and I should be able to make it to the next Breaking Swipe before they get to the next charge move. Actually, no, it doesn't look like it. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to double shield in this matchup here. I thought it was a Surf, but I just shielded it up anyways, so definitely a misplay from my end, and now I end up going for a breaking swipe there. Perhaps I could have got the counter farm down, but because they baited with that surf, it just completely threw me off. So yeah, definitely a misplay so far, but we do at least have the alignment we want, and the opponent has to throw a charge move to take me out. So they go for the superpower. They're probably going to swap out straight away, and they do. They swap into Lantern, so I'm going to go for the breaking swipe straight away, and then swap into my Alolan Sandslash here. So they are very low now, to the point where I can actually take them out with an Ice Punch or with the Shadow Claw damage. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Let the first move go through. They make it to another Surf, but that's absolutely fine with me. All I have to do is make it to the back-to-back charge moves, or close to it here, as I should just barely live one counter from the Buzzwole. So we take out the Lantern. We do live that one counter. We make it to the Ice Punch. This will be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and now all we have to do is make it to the breaking swipe. But can we live a superpower? It is resisted damage, but superpower nearly takes me out, and one more counter does the job, and unfortunately we do lose that game, even though we did manage to flip the alignment there. But into the next battle, and GG's to that opponent by the way. We lead into a Azumarill, so I'm going to stay in this lead matchup of course. And we're going to go for a drill run after 7 Shadow Claws. You always want to go after 7 if you're going up against a 3-turn fast move like Azumarill does have with Bubble. Now this is enough for the Hydro Pump. It is the Hydro Pump, and we barely live that there. We swap into Haxorus, and they respond with a Galarian Stunfisk. So not a great matchup so far, as basically Sandslash was the only thing we had to take out the Azumarill. But now I'm going to go for the Earthquake here, not expecting a shield, and Earthquake does go unshielded. We take out the Stunfisk. They come back in with the Azumarill, and I'm going to go for a breaking swipe straight away. I don't expect them to shield this up, but they actually do shield it up, which is fine with me. Now they do make it to a potential Ice Beam or a Play Rough. I'm going to use a shield here. It is the Play Rough, and I'm going to overfarm quite significantly, go for another breaking swipe with my Haxorus, and breaking swipe does get the Azumarill very low. They then swap into Shadow Swampert, and I don't have a clue why, but I force send the Earthquake here, and Earthquake will obviously get shielded by the Shadow Swampert. So what was I thinking? I should have just debuffed their attack. They go for Hydro Cannon. They actually undercharge there, so I would have got off a second breaking swipe. I'm now going for the full farm down here, and the opponent makes it to a charge move. It's actually a Sludge Wave, which takes out the Rayquaza, and I'm thinking, damn, have I just completely thrown this game? We come in, we counter farm them down, and now it just depends, did we have the Ice Punch loaded? Yes, we did, and Sandslash with 1 HP takes out the Azumarill, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.